Is it working now? Yay! Good morning, everyone.
Good afternoon, Dan.
Good morning.
I'm glad to hear Stone is okay.
I am too, thank God. It was a tumultuous couple hours, well, hour and a half. It's a
Yeah,
weird phone call to get at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. However, he is fine now. He was a wreck earlier. I'm worried about his grandma though. So
Yeah, I'll keep her in my prayer. Hope that she gets
how is everyone doing today?
okay.
Okay. Any more offers come through on your property?
Yes, but mostly, well, I shouldn't say mostly. Also, a lot of calls for rentals.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That's one of the things I want to talk about was the potential spam on a listing.
Yeah, I guess the scammer, they put it on there, and then after a while, after a day or so, they take it off, and then a few hours is off, and then it's back on again. And it had two different sellers' name, I guess, that they put on there. And we looked up their Facebook, and I'm sure those people, their Facebook got hacked. So the scammers using their Facebook. But yeah, we've been getting so many calls on that. It's crazy.
And what you do when you advise people like that, you actually make a friend. You let them know, hey, I'm sorry, this isn't for rent. And keep their contact information. Those people are usually looking for a house, so you just call them and talk to them.
Yeah.
But
Do we do rentals? And how does that work?
we have a property management company. We have a few of them that you can refer to, or you can go out and find them rental too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I got all their most of their the people that called in, or yeah, that called me, I got their email because they forwarded the scammer's email, the conversation that they were having. So.
It's weird to find people that way, but I've sold a house to a lady named Jessica, who I was walking into another listing of my team's. I was getting set up to show it to another client, and this lady pulls up, and she's like, "Hey, did you get my deposit?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, I just sent you my deposit to rent." I was like, "This isn't for rent. This is for sale." And we were able to catch it, and she canceled the bank transfer.
Oh gosh.
Her name was Jessica, her husband Noah, and they were looking for a house to rent. And I was like, "Well, what's got you looking to rent?" And wound up turning around and putting me into a house for less than she would have rented that house for. But it just happened because I happened to be there, and she was driving by and wanted to show her husband. Or boyfriend, I can't remember what he was, but I remember Jessica knowing that was it. And she was a young lady, and she was like devastated. I was like, no, call your bank and cancel it right now. So it went to some offshore, offbeat place for a wire money transfer. I've never even heard of it. It's not like Western Union, but similar, but just an off-brand name.
Mm-hmm.
Robin, what's reflecting on your forehead?
Oh, I don't know. The sunshine.
All right. Well, we kind of put our hold on our contest we were running a while back was with the database gain stuff. So no one's really sent me their proof of anything. So if you want to send me your proof, somebody might be the winner.
I improved mine a little bit, but not a lot. Let's see.
Teresa, you doing okay? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm working in my command today. Got some things to put in and update and reaching out, leaving a bunch of voicemails, and then I'm following up with emails and texts. So trying to connect.
Good. What else you got working, Kim? You said you got a new buyer. How's that going?
Give me 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Thank
Mike, we finally recorded on the Georgia people.
Yes, we did. That was a relief. And then last night, my listing appraisal came in 2075.
What was the conversation with that seller?
He's okay with it, except for I'm working with the buyer's agent to see if we can somehow dispute it.
Do you have proof that would prove otherwise?
Well, that's what we're both looking. I think it's going to be really tough to do. I personally suggested between 212 and 215. He wanted to go 220. Said it was easier to come back, and so that's what we went with. The offer was 230, and really kind of felt that was going to be a stretch, but he wanted to go forward with it, and here we are.
At least he was primed for it. It wasn't like one of those, well, you told me it was worth conversation. So
yeah, no, he was hoping it would be around 215. 207 is
a bit light.
Because yeah, it's a little light. I don't know. It just kind of depends on whether the buyer, if they absolutely need the closing costs that he agreed to, we may have to, hopefully the agent and I can come to an agreement and adjust if that's what we're going to have to come to.
Call the lender. You call the lender directly and just smooze them. Say, hey, we're trying to keep this deal together. It came in at 207. We're looking for comps in the area, but in the event that we have to stay at 207, what is the dead stop less you need on those closing costs?
Right.
So just tell them, trying to keep it together. And you just kind of lean on the fact that the seller could cancel the contract. The seller doesn't have to sell the house.
And he may, because he's already moved forward with the some of the repairs. So he's already put another $2,200 in repairs.
Right.
So it's and plus the appraisal is only, it's at 207 if, which again, we had that conversation about the fascia and FHA, and it's valued at 207 if that's repaired and addressed.
Gotcha. And
So-
did you plan on doing that?
What's that?
You plan on doing that?
He probably would, but he would probably take it off market and do it and then put it back on the market.
Gotcha.
So
That's worth it. So
yeah, I agree. And he's a good friend of mine, so it's really it's going to be what it is, up to him. But he paid $197 for it back in 2006. He kind of got he had an agent that from his story, it didn't sound like the agent worked. It kind of took advantage of him and the for sale by owner, and so again, he wasn't trying to make a killing on it, but he ended up, between the insurance money and money out of his own pocket, the past 3 months, he's put about $32,000 in upgrades in this place. So
you would expect to get that much back.
I don't know if he was expecting, well, because like I said, $15,000 of it was insurance because the tenants kind of burned down the kitchen. But he, he had the asbestos flooring removed out of his own pocket, which was $5,000. And then he just wanted to make sure it was right for whoever's going to buy it. So out of his own pocket, he's got $15,000, and he just wanted to see it go for about $215,000.
Gotcha. Covers costs.
Yeah.
But the situations we have here, we talk about a lot is being able to have those tough conversations. And Mike, I think you're doing a great job of setting these conversations up before they ever happen. And that's having that dialogue up front. And I think it's worth about this. If you want to go higher, we have this opportunity of appraisal coming back south and then moving forward. Man, I tell you, these appraisers, the appraisers seem like they're trying to keep the market in check, which makes no sense.
Well, that's where the Georgia buyer was too. I was on the buy side of that. We were under contract 295 and appraisal came back 271.
Yeah.
But sellers agreed to just keep everything intact and just drop it to 271.
So their agent had the same conversation. Oh, awesome. Well, that's what we need to do. What are you guys up to? What are you out working? What can I do to help you most right now? Because one of the things we need to really work on is our contract integrity. Do you all know how to write a contract in DocuSign? No, you do not.
Haven't
No.
done it yet.
Have you taken the time to watch the command videos, the compliance videos?
Yes.
It's on my list of things to do.
I like it. We can
Well,
run
like
through it
you.
quickly, guys. It's pretty simple. Watch my screen. Doo-doo-doo-doo. You guys should have my command up there, yeah?
We do?
So this is one that I'm working with Eileen right now. That's the buyer she's helping me show houses to this morning. We wrote an offer on it. So we're going to create an opportunity. I think I already have one in here. Yep, Osborne. The property that she wanted to put an offer in on was 86 South Chilean Loop. We can go on here. Appointment phase, kept offer, time frame 1 to 3 months, appointment scheduled. So I scheduled the appointment. What is today? The 17th. So we had talked on Tuesday. Budget 225. Finance type is going to be VA loan. Yeah. This is just for your updating on command. This is for your own notes. You can see, you know, how many, they're called the Ford conversations. How many appointments you've set, how many appointments you've been on, how many agreements you've won, how many contracts you've written. Just all based on this information here. Documents, this is where we go to next. So I skipped over one. Details page, we just filled in. Your buyer profile is when they have their mobile app and they create their own login to the mobile app. Megan hasn't done that yet, and I'm gonna get her to do so, and then you'll see a buyer profile. Documents is where we're actually going to go and find the documents. So starting a transaction is going to take you into DocuSign. You're going to log in. And this is your document room. This is the same thing as like your .loop loop. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So pretty simple. You add documents, just like you did in DocuSign, or you do DocuSign, or you did in but you do DocuSign forms. It brings up the same categories as before, just a little bit easier. Arizona Association Realtors, and then the things that you need, right? We need a buyer. We need wire fraud for buyers. We need residential purchase contract.
ABA.
Got it. We'll get the ABA in a second. Residential agreement and election, also known as what form?
Read.
The READY form.
READ. Yep.
READE. READY. Read form. Pre-qualification form, just in case. Do we need the market condition advisory? HOA form, just in case. I leave the domestic well water and the on-site wastewater in the event that we find a property that's got both of those. I don't use the COVID addendum. It's up to you guys if you want to use it. Buyer broker exclusive agency. I like the buyer pre-closing walkthrough. I just put it in there right now because we're going to need it later, right? Buyer advisory for sure. And that's it, yeah? We're going to add those documents. Now we need the ABA, as I heard. So we need to go back, DocuSign forms. The library for that is actually going to be Keller Williams. ABA. Bam. And you can arrange these however you want. I like this view personally versus this view. This confuses me. This is your default. It's going to put them in name order. And then all you need to do to go fill them out is no different than DocuSign. You're going to click on each form. So here's the buyer advisory. Well, that was a bad form because there's really nothing to fill out there, right? You're just going to go all the way to the bottom. And you're going to add a signature there. And you can sign your stuff if you wanted to, but we're going to do that later. Cool. Close. Let's go to something we actually have to fill a lot out on, the purchase contract. As it loads in. Do you guys know that you're supposed to be going over this with your buyers? Who's actually read the contract page to page?
I have,
Right.
but it doesn't stick in my head very long.
Tell me where it's at. All right, filling out a contract is one of the things that I see people miss the most stuff on. Where do you think they are? Where do you think most of the issues come from?
Initially,
Okay, initially, it's check boxes. Because most documents are going to automatically fill in these areas here. It's the check boxes. If you know the seller's name, type it in. Or as identified in section 9C, because there might be a seller we're not aware of. I like 9C being checked. Premises address. You can fill all this out beforehand, or you can fill it out in the contract and it saves it for you. Bad numbers, Dan. You know, the second thing I see most missed on a contract, what do you think it is?
My broker is asking.
The assessor's number is not correct?
It's not on there. What do you think is super critical about a purchase contract, Mike?
Oh, the property information.
Right? Knowing what we're writing a contract on.
Right.
And I reviewed a lot of it. They're not mostly our agents. They're agents that are not with this company that just happen to be sending in offers.
Profile.
Yeah, I can't spell, guys. Sorry. Full price. It pulled it from our command, which is okay. We can edit this. So earnest money. What are we going to do with the earnest money? We need to put some kind of rule in here.
To be applied
Towards closing costs.
costs.
If you know they need extra time. Then we're going to do
Down payment.
or you can write and the balance of funds would be
Loan amount.
if it were an all cash deal, you need to write all cash deal. Right? How the earnest money is going to be sent off is most likely a personal check. advise people against wire transfers. We know why. Do we?
Fraud.
Okay. Another one that's always missed is where is it going to be going? You can pretty much leave this box checked. We don't have a broker's trust account. Closing date. August 20th, 2020.
Don't do it on a Friday
Don't do it on a Friday. Why is that, Miss Robin?
because if anything happens, then the loan won't fund and then you're stuck the whole weekend.
Right. Closing date should be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday only. It gives you extra playroom. And as I found out today, USA needs a minimum of 40 days.
Oh, shoot, on my contract, I have it on a Friday. I didn't realize.
Yeah, you want to stay away from Friday closings because what happens is they have a 2 o'clock wire cutoff, which means if they have one piece of paper that's missing and they can't send the wire yet, and they're going to issue that money, they do it at 3:15. They can't send the money until Monday. Like
That's
Robin's
what-
deal last week, they got everything they needed at 3:15. The wire cutoff was 2.
Yeah.
So the buyers had to rent the house for 2 days from the seller for $0. It was a pain in the butt.
Well, the buyer put it for September 25th, which is the Friday.
Right. And if you control the contract, that's when you want to select those days.
Mm.
I don't care if it's a 46-day closing or a 48-day closing. It's always best to have it a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I try to make all my closings on Wednesdays because it gives me that time to either get documents prepped or have some kind of buffer zone in the event that they don't. Because how stressful was it you last time, Mike, when you were closing on Friday?
It was stressful.
Because you know if nothing goes through, it's 2 more days.
Right.
It's not just tomorrow.
Yep.
That's why we try to do anything we can to put it, even if you have to extend the contract because of something happened, don't put it for honor before the next Friday. The banks always take their sweet ass time to the last day. Make it Thursday. Cut them down and then force the issue. Just going to help you out in the long run.
So in my case, what can I do to change it?
Just make sure don't change it. Just make sure you have everything in place. Because
Okay.
as a seller, it's not going to do a whole lot. To the buyer, it does. Because as a buyer side, let's say you've got moving vans and everything set up for Friday, bam, they don't record because you were going to move all weekend. You took the weekend, you're going to move, Monday, go back to work, nothing's different. Now we can't close until Monday. And it's not going to be until 1 or 2 o'clock on Monday because it's going to fund and then record. So now you've wasted Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning. You got pissed off buyers. This is
Gotcha.
just helping me hedge your potential events in the future so that you don't have that problem. What happens 3 days before closing?
CD goes out.
Okay. You guys know that?
No.
3 business days before closing. 3 calendar days before closing, docs need to be at title. And this is an expectation you need to have. You don't want to be getting to the day of closing and trying to schedule a signing. You want to be able to get the docs there, get the signing in order, and then tell your clients, hey, we're going to sign at 8 o'clock in the morning, or you can sign at 4 p.m. the night before, have everything done. We're just going to record tomorrow. It's a lot easier to do that if docs are in place.
Dan, can I ask you a quick question since I'm on my so we have another closing this Friday, but this one's actually less stressful. Clients are in Gilbert. They're going to sign on Wednesday, but the new septic won't be certified until Thursday. How does that work? Like, in other words, it just won't record until we got certification on the septic?
Correct.
Okay.
So any docs that are needed to fund will keep you from recording. Recording is the essentially saying, I don't need anything else. So If you are asking for appliances, please, for the love of all that is good, do not write the words as seen on or as listed, as depicted, as photographed. Write it down. Samsung stainless side by side. If you don't know what it's called, ask.
What I do, if I remember or have to go back to, I take a picture of the tag number inside the door of whatever it is,
Smart.
and that way I can put the serial number. It's all exact.
Right? Oh, and up here, make sure you mark the correct addendum. If it's got an HOA, you need to make sure you send an HOA form.
If can you go back up to the addendums there? So where it says other, so like if you did COVID and MCA and all that, but there's not enough space in there, how would you fill that in on page 8? Like if there was extra?
Yeah, additional addenda attached.
Okay.
The MCA is not an addenda.
What is
Market-
MCA?
Market condition advisory.
Oh.
It has no bearing on the contract. Only addendas have bearing on contracts.
Okay.
Because the COVID's an addendum because it automatically resets the closing date if something were closed due to COVID, and you get 10 days automatic adjustment to your COE. So that affects your contract closing date. So be educated when you put stuff here, like airplane disclosure. Is it an addendum?
No.
No, it is not. Does it have any bearing to the contract?
No.
No. I see it here all the time. It is an advisory that needs to be signed, but all that is an advisory. It has no bearing to the contract. So. Sorry, Heather was calling me. She's probably checking on me. Now, wastewater addendum. Is it an addendum?
Yes.
Yes.
Might be.
It is, because it actually has a bearing to the contract. It can change contract times. It's a cancelable item within the contract. So, domestic well water addendum, all these things are right here. On-site wastewater, seller financing, domestic well water, buyer contingency. Even though it's not a buyer contingency addendum, it's listed as buyer contingency right there. Just shortens it. Additional clauses, addendum. What would you use that for? We've talked about it a bunch.
You could use it
Clause.
For what, Mike?
like if it was an all cash sale and they wanted an appraisal.
Okay. A cash sale appraisal contingency is on the additional clauses addendum. What else? Something we use a lot right now.
Escalation clause.
Nope.
No.
That goes on page 8. Good question, though. We're going to get there. Backup contracts.
Oh, yes.
Backup contracts. The two that you're going to use the most for is a backup contract and a cash sale contingency. Make sure you read the fixtures. It has changed. Smart home devices are now on here. Financing, make sure we select the correct loan type as represented here. Or up here, you can even write new loan as defined in section 2J. Section 2J, or sorry, 2H. 2H says conventional FHA cash or otherwise. If you see a conventional loan and 0 down payment, it's okay. It does throw up a red flag because you're like, there is no such thing as a 0 down conventional loan. However, they do not need to dictate how much money they're putting down on a contract. I learned that with actually one of Michelle's deals when she's taken in. It doesn't show any down payment, but it's because they're doing that for their bank.
Melissa's?
Sorry, Melissa. I'm sorry, Melissa. I
don't understand. I don't understand what that means. Why would it show no down payment?
Because they're not listing the down payment here. They don't want the down payment to be a line item on the contract. Realistically, it only needs to show purchase price, earnest money, and total value, in total. Because if they get a $200,000 loan and they're putting 40 grand down, that's between them and the bank.
Yeah, that's true, Big Dan. Because one of the offer I did, my buyer had a lot of money to put down payment, but we offer like 2,000 more than the asking price, and we asked for seller concession. So they end up accepting it, but say, why does your buyer need the closing costs? And we can see that he have enough money.
That's exactly it. So situations like that, when they're asking for closing costs, Melissa's deal, they're asking for 3.5% closing costs, and they're putting $20-some thousand down. Am I correct?
Yes.
So they're asking for the closing costs to get a good deal. They're paying for it up front, but they're trying to put that money down to keep their payment to income in line, or the certain DTI, or their certain loan to value ratio. So we don't know. And it has actually no bearing on the contract itself, other than you can see, hey, this buyer's got $90,000 down, and 90 is no relevant number in this situation, other than it's more than 20% of the loan. So you can fight back and say they don't need the closing costs. Like Kim did, they left it off the contract, so it becomes a negotiating point. So that's one way you'll see it. I did question it because I was like, it's very unorthodox to not put the down payment on there because we're so used to seeing it. In the event that you do have a buyer that's got a substantial down payment, put it on there. All right, seller concessions, percentages or dollar amount. Make sure you put in full dollars, not just the percent here. We had a contract that said $2.50 instead of 2.5. This is a good conversation to have with your lenders. If you want to be aggressive and you do need closing costs, then find out exactly how much they need, and you need to have that included in your sales price. Who's going to pay the appraisal?
Buyers.
You guys want to be sneaky? Throw it in there. Most people don't check for it. Just saying. Title and escrow can be whatever you want. It's going to be title lady at escrow company. Address down the street. There. And 85741. Email is email at email. Okay. Make sure you fill it out. Next thing, possession of assessment and fees. Why is people running back and forth from my office? All right. If it's older than 78, make sure you collect your lead-based payment or lead-based paint information. I'm not gonna lie, this whole thing with stone really took my brain power away. And I love the word none written here on 211. Someone explain to me why that's important.
It leaves out any ambiguity.
I love it. Okay, next. Someone else describe it.
So no one can add anything extra into there?
Okay.
No verbal agreements between the buyer and seller. Is that
No verbal agreements. This is buyer to warrants that the buyer is not relying on any verbal representation concerning the premises except disclosed as follows. Now, you are the buyer. You walk in the house. You find the seller. The seller is like, actually, yeah, I put a roof on it last year. It's got a 10-year warranty. Line 211 would represent seller stated home roof warranty for 10 years. If the seller misspoke, who's on the hook?
The seller.
Right. The word none protects you as an agent so you don't get wrapped up in the suit there too. Well, my buyer's agent told me that the seller told him it was a 10-year warranty on the roof. I said no such thing. The judge can be like, prove it. And you're like, I did. Look, they signed here, line 211, notating that no verbal representation of a warranty has been applied. Now you see why we put the word none there.
Yes.
It takes the he said, she said out of it. Renee, is that your cat over the camera? I just see hair.
Yeah, he's like laying on top of it right now.
Okay. Yeah, so make sure you put that in your templates or get used to putting that in line 11.
Okay.
Inspection periods, you can extend those, shorten those to however you want to do. What kind of sewer system, if it's sewer, conventional, or alternative. You're only going to find alternative systems in highly rocky areas up on the mountainside, mainly. Or if it's an old axe house, it has a cesspool or some kind of latrine dump, those are alternative systems. But 90% of it's going to be these two, sewer and conventional. All right, due diligence periods, we don't need to fill out anything here unless you want to shorten them or elongate them. Home warranty plan, make sure you select one of each. Home warranty be ordered by the buyer or the seller. As a buyer's agent, please mark that you were going to order the contract. Why is that, Ms. Robin?
So that I know that it happens, I'm putting in the order to get it, and I can do things like get the HVAC certified.
On top of that, you're also not giving the seller's agent your client's information. Right? All right. If it has a pool or it has a second refrigerator, anything that you want to add, that's what goes here. Seller with the following optional coverage. This isn't like Supreme by 210. This is if you want pool coverage or pools, comma, extra fridge, comma, whatever other else coverage they give you.
Oh, I did that wrong, man.
A lot of people do, myself included. I just put Supreme to be issued by 210, but Supreme's not the additional home coverage. We just want to order basic Supreme. It's good to have those on there. This is if you have a pool or if you have anything extra, you want to add it to this. To be issued to by whatever home warranty company you use at a cost not to exceed. Make sure you have enough in there to cover the home warranty and try not to be much more than that. To be paid for by the buyer or the seller or split equally. Not a bad option on either three. Or buyer declines. When that's the case, you uncheck the box, right?
Could you add the money for the HVAC certification there?
Yes, you do actually. The certification's a warranty, so the seller can't pay for it. Not a warranty, it's an inspection.
Oh, okay.
But this would read $60 or $600 if you were the seller that added the HVAC coverage. So it would be home warranty coverage options with seller HVAC to be issued by 210 at a cost of $600. Page 8, the lines of death, if you will. Do not get crazy, creative, or any kind of nonsense here. If you are related to the buyer, disclose it. How do we disclose it? Anyone want to take a shot?
In the MLS or on that line?
How do we disclose it here? You got to disclose it on the contract.
You just say agent is related to buyer's.
Buyer's agent.
There you go. Buyer's agent has a familiar relationship. Buyer's agent is related to buyer. Agent is related to buyer. Buyer and agent are family. Whatever you need to do to disclose it. If you are the buyer, or if the buyer is licensed, you need to identify that they are indeed licensed in what state and working for what company.
You mean the seller?
No, the buyer. So I've got a buyer that's licensed at Keller Williams in Ohio.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Buyer is licensed to sell real estate in Ohio, working for Keller Williams of South Canton.
Big Dan, what kind of the level of a relationship you have to disclose? If you're not brother, but you know that person.
If you're related at all.
Okay.
If you're third cousins, you don't know your third cousins, you can't disclose it because you don't know it.
How about friend?
If it's your best friend and you call each other brothers, you are not related. You are just best friends.
I got an offer and the buyer's agent put on their listing agent is related to seller.
There you go. It's disclosed. Because you, as the seller's agent, have it listed in the MLS, so it has to be disclosed somewhere. If you're the listing agent and the purchase offer does not have that information, you need to send a notice of disclosure to the other side saying that the listing agent is related to the seller.
Hmm.
So
I also put in there that, like, if the seller is an agent that the seller is a licensed agent to practice real estate in the state of Arizona.
Any disclosed item, this isn't just on your side. It goes in the purchase contract. It just says there. And then a lot of you guys are using escalation clauses. So
Did he freeze or did he just stop talking?
He's
No,
typing.
he's typing.
I are typing.
Oh, okay, I see now.
So there's a certain amount of pages that you want to actually call out if you want, or that's a simple way of putting it. All right, the key points of an escalation clause. How much is going to increase over the next best offer? That it's a net variant. What is it? What do I mean by that, Teresa?
Oh, I know you're trying to wake me up. A net variant is after all the other factors. It's not the gross, but it is the net.
After all the factors. Who's paying the appraisal, home warranties, concessions, closing costs, anything from page 8?
Yes.
So, and then it has a termination time. What do I mean by termination time? Up to what amount you're going to pay. So buyer agrees to pay $500 more than the next best bona fide net offer. If escalation clause is triggered, seller shall provide proof of bona fide offers. Total purchase price shall not exceed $250. I mean, you don't want to be that exaggerated in your scale. I'm just throwing a number out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to beat it by $500. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be super wordy, super lengthy. You can put in some stuff in there if you want to be so technical and put exactly which items you want to see on each contract, the purchase price, earnest money, escrow, all the appraisal. There's my explanation that I have has got it all written out in very depth. So now page 9, make sure you have to put a response time. Response time is typically the next day by 5 p.m.
In that area also, you need to look at the agent remarks on the MLS, because sometimes they'll specify that they're only going to respond on a certain day, and that might be 2 days or 3 days.
Right. And that make sure you call them up and verify those response times. And just say, hey, I'm going to put an offer on your house. I see that you have a response time for Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Is that accurate?
Yeah, a lot of them that come up on like Thursdays and Fridays are saying Monday at 5, which kind of makes sense. But
which is nice is the buyer that Eileen was helping me out with this morning. I couldn't show her this weekend because she worked. I couldn't show her this morning because I worked at a teach class, but she's off. And the house that she really liked, they were holding all offers until 5 o'clock. No more showings after 5 o'clock Monday, reviewing offers on Tuesday.
yeah, it's
So-
because they know they're going to get into a bidding war right now, the current market.
It's nuts. And I hope we win. That'd be great. If not, then we'll go find another one. Next, we move on to the areas I see more issues. Agent name. Is that my agent name?
To Daniel Caldwell.
Thank you, Mike. It's the name that's represented in MLS. Dan is a nickname. Cannot be on the contract. Mike is a nickname. Mikey. The Mikey. Oh. And then make sure you have your license number, MLS code. If there's a second agent on the deal, their number, their state ID. If the other agent is not getting MLS love, and they're not being shown as a co-buyer in MLS, all you do is remove their number. Is this the correct firm name?
Nope.
No.
What should it be, Kim? What needs to be on line 446?
Wait. Keller Williams, Southern Arizona.
You guys like that short code? Woo!
Yeah.
Our MLS code, depending on which office you're in, is either 437 something. I don't know. I've got it written down somewhere. I look it up every time. But you got to have it written like on here. It's got to be the code for your office. If you're out of the east side or if you're out of the north side, 2 different codes, 4738 or 478306, depending on where you're at, and different license numbers and full addresses. If you're representing the buyer and the seller, it's very easy. If I'm representing the seller, you're representing the buyer, what do you put on line 450?
Both
Oh.
buyers.
Thank you. And then please, guys, take the extra time to fill in the broker information on the seller side. You have all the info. Trust me, it looks better to a selling agent that you've already filled out all the seller's information. Does it take that long? Where do you get all the information at, Robin?
So that should be on the MLS sheet. Yep.
Is that everything you need right there? The only thing you don't have is their company's address. Leave
Google
that.
search.
No,
Oh,
we-
Google search is quick.
So, but please go a little further and put all that on there. And then make sure you select the correct one for them. Just makes your life easier. Now you're ready you're saving and closing it, right? Did you
Dan?
learn something you didn't know about the purchase contract that can help you write another one? You feel more confident now?
It helps every time we go through it.
Yeah, simple stuff, guys. I want you all to write me a contract on a house and send it to me. As if you were a buyer's agent, you were the buyer, sign it yourself, everything. Pick a house in MLS and send me a purchase packet on it. Okay? Yes, Teresa.
If we have an incorporation like PLLC, would we put that as our name, or do we just still put our name?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, either or
As
does it?
long as it's registered with the ADRE.
It is, okay. Okay.
Now, the rest of the forms we don't need to go into. They're very simple. The only thing you really need to focus on, like I said, was the purchase contract. The next is the HOA form. I don't want to talk about that because we selected it on the contract, right? We're selecting the HOA form.
Yes.
If there is no HOA form present in the MLS when you write the offer, listen to this, okay? You always send an HOA form with the contract, regardless if it's in the MLS or not. Do not wait for them to send it to you. Fill in the names. Where do you get the names from?
MLS usually has it listed, or you can look it up.
CRS.
Okay, if you guys are in Pima County and you look at the second line here, it's got the Pima County GIS. Click on it. Where's the seller's name?
Right there.
Larson, Kaylee L, and Jordan Paul, CPRS. Do you guys know that this is their name? This is how they took title?
Yep.
So it's Jordan Paul Larson and Kaylee L Larson. So the seller's name would be written on this line here.
Mhm.
If you know the HOA, great. But all we're doing, because we're the buyer's agent, this is the seller's agent responsibility. They didn't put one in MLS, so we need to send one. We're going to go straight to page 3. We're going to fill out the information if it's already not auto-populated because we already put the information in above. And the seller is going to pay all. On other fees, any additional seller pays. Why is that important? Who sold a house in Sahuarita? Who wants to sell a house in Sahuarita? Everyone. Good. You guys want to sell a house. Did you know that Sahuarita has a 1% capital improvement fee? Meaning that no matter what they charge on the HOA, you could have a $200 HOA transfer, a $200 HOA disclosure, a $69 HOA documentation fee, plus a 1% capital improvement cost. You sell a $300,000 house in Sahuarita, what's that fee?
30,000.
Wow.
Good math, Robin. 3,000.
3,000.
$3,000. Does that make that HOA agreement a whole lot scarier? That's why if it is not in the system, the seller pays. As a listing agent, that's why it's super important for you to put the correct information on page 1 so you can have a legitimate negotiation point. I will never have a buyer agree to pay their fees if the HOA fee is not represented in the deal. So, very similar. Name, seller's name, premises address, seller pays. Other fees you got to put on line 80. If any, seller pays.
So if the page above that one that you just checked doesn't show any capital improvement fee, then there's none.
Yeah, more than likely. Still do your research. And if you want to do your research, pull up that neighborhood in the MLS for sold in the last year and look at all their documents. Look at the documents that are represented in here.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in here and it says documents. More than likely, the documents are still there from past deals, so you want to go in and review them. And you can see right here, it didn't pull up, did it? We're going to do a new share, PDF. Can y'all see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Got HOA, $90 a quarter, $210 to transfer, $90 a quarter, no prepays, $65 for another fee, which is a certification. I'm okay having my buyer pay $275 to transfer this deal. So on here, I put her name, the seller's name, the premises, mark buyer, because we're trying to be aggressive, right? That $600 might be, that $800 might be, that $200 might be the linchpin in the deal. Showing that you're willing to pay the HOA is huge. Showing that you're willing to pay the $25 septic transfer payment is huge. The more agreeable you make the deal, good. As a buyer's agent, guys, if you're going to ask for a ton of closing costs, assume every fee as well. What that means, like Melissa's deal, she had 3.5% on a $260,000 deal. Quite a bit of money. Are you going to need that much money to close that deal? That's a ton. That's $8,000 in closing costs. Or $6,500, whatever it is. A lot of money. And they asked for her to pay the appraisal. They asked for her to pay for the home warranty. They asked for her to pay for the HOA. They asked for the seller to pay for everything, on top of giving closing costs. Now, that was an agent that was fighting for his buyers. He could have lost that deal over some silliness like that. Rule of thumb, if you want to be aggressive and you need closing costs, don't make the seller pay more. Unless you know you can get away with it, then help your buyers get the best deal possible. The only way we can help our buyers is to do what?
Get the best deal possible.
Educate them.
Get them to close. Can you get a deal to close if you don't have a contract? So sometimes the best deal is just to get it under contract and close it. We talked about it in the scripts this morning. of how to navigate somebody who's not wanting to increase their sales price. The lady I'm working with now, she wanted to offer 205. And I sent her a message. I was like, if they sell the house for 210, are you going to be okay that you lost that deal? She's like, oof, I don't know if I want to go up that high. I was okay, good. I'm just setting an upper limit. Called me back. She's like, well, my mom says that I should go heavy in this market because it's fast moving market. It's a nice house. I'll do 210. Okay, great. I was like, so if they sell the house for 212,000, you're going to be okay with that? And she's like, yeah, I don't want to go above 210. But if she had said, well, I don't know, like then that $2,000 might be the winning difference between you and that. And then I made sure she had closing costs. I made sure she paid for the HOA. I made sure we didn't ask for home warranty. We want to be as aggressive as we can in the price point that we can work with. So having that conversation is important and asking them, so are you willing to walk away from this house for $50 a month? No? Then good. Let's offer that extra $5,000. So your question, Kim?
So my question was, when you make the offer and the seller he want you to pay everything, include just the capital, the HOA, and you even didn't ask for seller concession. Is it really fair?
They're buying a house. Everything's negotiable. There is no fair. The only way it was fair is if they paid market value and everyone split the cost down the middle. But even then, someone's going to feel like they're getting gypped out of something. The only way it's fair is if it closes. And they're happy.
If the appraisal comes a little bit low.
Yeah, if the appraisal comes in, they can either lower the price or they'll cancel the deal.
Okay, great. Do you agree with think expedite? Because right now there is a deal I'm working on, and the mortgage officer say, we may be delayed, but if we pay 300 to expedite, make it quick. So my buyer doesn't want it. Say, how come can I be charged, for things I already paid for that? So expedite appraisal so that they can do it as soon as possible. So they say that the appraisal company will be able to do it by by 31st, and that we only made like 2 weeks before.
That's up to you guys. I don't make that decision, and I don't want you to make that decision. If it's worth it to your buyers to pay more to have it done quicker, it's up to them. Remember the old days where you used to buy stuff when Amazon wasn't around? We had to pick either standard 2-day, overnight, next day deliveries, and they were like $5, $10, $20, and $50. How much did you want to spend to get the stuff, and how fast do you want to get it? Amazon made the whole world be okay with 2-day shipping.
I didn't know that this happened with the appraisal too.
It's been weird. So later, Mike, we all got to get off this, but I want you all to, like I said, find a property and send me an offer as if I were the listing agent on these properties, okay? Pick one. Guess what? This is the best way you learn, is having to do it.
And can we set up a fake opportunity in Command to try and do it?
Full fake opportunity.
That's what Renee was telling me, and I need to do that just so I can set up like smart plan to play around with and all that. I
even set up an email you guys can use. bigd@kw.com. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm expecting purchase offers. So let's practice this. Let's get a purchase offer out. Let's see how many of you are smart and write a letter. I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you.